Okay.
Je suis le messager, le marchand de bonheur. Je n'ai que des chansons à mettre dans les cœurs. Vous me verrez passer, chacun à votre tour, chacun pour aller au bon vent de l'amour. Je donne à bon marché, de quoi rire de tout, de quoi rire de tout. Plutôt que d'en pleurer, je ne demande rien pour me dédommager, qu'avoir sur mon chemin la joie que j'ai donnée. Je suis le vagabond, le marchand de bonheur. Je n'ai que des chansons à mettre dans les cœurs. Vous me verrez passer, chacun à votre tour, passer au vent léger, au vent de l'amour.
What a lovely way to start a
Hi, everyone.
conversation. Imagine, imagine if all the conversations would start similarly.
It would be my pleasure. It would be my pleasure. Hi, Zane.
Hi, Guy. How are
Hi,
you?
everyone.
How are you doing?
Ah, what a life. What a beautiful life. My God. Yeah. So
And you
I'm so
seem to really mean it.
I do mean. I mean, life is a struggle, you know. It doesn't mean that it has to be depressive or it has to be hard or it has to be difficult. It just means that yes, life is a struggle. Why not? But it's also fun. Life is a gift. It's just an amazing gift. That's, if gift, Gift, the four-letter word, like love.
Yeah.
Uh, I think, I'm not perfect. So, of course, sometimes I forget, sometimes my mind takes over. Um, but I always come back to this one truth, if I dare to say that word, that life is a gift. And there you go. So my gift is that you're here. I mean, meeting in Ireland. Wow. That's a gift, and now it's meeting you and meeting all your webcast family. Thank you for welcoming me in your home.
And
How about
you too. Thanks for coming to Ireland because it wasn't in my plan for previous years, and it's not in near future that I'm planning to go to Canada. But to get our listeners ready for this conversation, I put a poster, the somatic tales. That's what we came up with. We discussed our recent experiences in our own lives, and we decided that why not talk about it, what's happening in real time again. And
Mhm.
uh, it's, I don't think it's going to be the easiest conversation of them all. Um, it might be one of the most difficult ones, but why not to do it? I
We're
feel like we have warmed the audience and each other up to this to this position that we can actually touch upon these not so easy topics and but like it's been only 4 minutes, but we already like diving so deep, and I don't know.
well,
Is it the song?
our message is healing, and
Yeah,
that's remember. Like I say, life is a gift. However, we get lost. However, we have struggles. If we can remember, if we find a way to remember that it's a gift. Um, and it's the same thing now. Yes, we've go deeper, and yeah, maybe a warning, because not a warning, but we're gonna talk about sensitive subject matters, about family and about feeling and about pain, physical pain, um, how much physical pain plays a role in our life. But basically, if we're having this discussion together and with your wonderful group, it's the idea that we heal. We are here on this planet, on this life journey to heal. So sometimes the seas are very rocky and we reach out for a lifesaver. We need something to grab on. Uh, maybe sometime I will reach for my nose, it's like it's a reminder that
Yeah.
you know, oh no, it's starting again.
It happens like the last time. It keeps appearing and reappearing.
Oh no, it keeps moving from finger to finger. I just don't know. It's something about you. It's like, oh,
Double. Am I hallucinating? It's two of them now.
you. Okay, so it's about healing. It's about that life is a gift and it's about healing. So I'll let you start. Where would you like to start take this discussion? Talk about our week, our month, or go dive in specifically? I'll let you
I
start.
would say I would even touch up in like recent 20 years, if that's okay with you. Because I'm in a position in my life at the minute where I could draw many parallel situations that happened 20 years ago and now. And I found it pretty much magic and a magical experience in its way of appearing in my life at the minute. And it's health wise, it's emotions, it's people I meet, it's the challenges that I feel I don't want to say I'm brave enough to encounter, but I don't really have a choice, you know, so that they happen. And of course, it's connected with somatic experiences. And 20 years ago, I did some I did some yoga, I did some aikido, I did like some somatic practices that it's really hard to detach them from like philosophical way of approaching. Like there is always a background, there's always some more books that you could read up, always some more uh, people to learn about, and it did present this knowledge or these experiences did present themselves in my health and the way I approach my relationships. And recently, what I found, especially in last few years, because we had the situation in the world, the stress, the whatever stress, I can't say I was the most stressful person, but it definitely affected me. And I'm not like I don't own TV since I was 18, but I catched up with the news and my somatic experience that I would probably want to touch up on in this conversation would be, I'd say, last 3 years to put it in kind of concrete measures. Because I experienced some weird skin conditions. Sometimes my felt like my whole body aches, and it was unbearable if someone would touch me even, and these kind of, I know there are symptoms and there are many popular diseases now that could explain those symptoms, but my feeling for my body, as far as I know my body, was that emotion got stuck someplace in my body, and I started to read upon those like what other people experience. I search for blogs, I search for people who experience similar things in real time and also in history. And it turned out that I'm not surprised, I'm not the first one. I'm not crazy. These things happen. And most importantly, I don't know why, but I had forbidden myself to dive as deep as I would probably like in years before. And now I don't have a choice anymore because I was so sick that I live in a house, it's 2-story house, and I couldn't climb up the stairs. And that's kind of pretty dramatic if you have 3 kids and there's stuff needs to be done. So that's basically my place that I would love to come in to this conversation about somatic experiences and how emotional struggle can represent itself in kind of dramatic ways that it impacts your whole life and existence. So uh, we could put my experience kind of in a one box now here, and you could probably share your
Mm.
like I know your most recent experience, but probably there's some others that you would like to share.
Well, thank you for this amazing intro and for sharing, part of yourself. Um, So the discussion today, when we talk somatic experience, even for me, this is new. Like a month ago, I would have said, okay, I kind of know that word, but what does it actually imply? What did it mean? So because in the last weeks, I actually lived, you could say, a somatic crisis. I delved in to find the definition. So basically, this hour we're going to talk about how our feelings, our mind, can translate into physical manifestations. So soma basically means from your feelings, from your this not abstract, but just feelings to become actually physical. And uh, one evening, 3 weeks ago, I couldn't walk anymore, basically. It just kind of bang, fell on me. I couldn't sleep. The pain was too much. It
Could
was
you
in one.
elaborate? What was the first sense?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I felt I had the knife stuck in my leg, in my right leg, and that was it. And it came out of nowhere. I had never lived such an experience, but basically, the pain was painful. There's just no way to talk about it. So much that I couldn't sleep, and the next day, I had to basically walk on all fours. I couldn't stand up, and painkillers didn't do much. And to the second night, I slept a bit as I tried to find a position, but basically it was on my leg. And in a way, I'm lucky. I don't know how to say this, but when I'm sitting, I didn't have any more pain. So as opposed to an experience where you are in 24-hour pain. But basically, sitting, the pain would subside, would go away. But standing and even laying down, the leg was painful. So that's the start of my story. So for 1 week, I could barely move without being painful. I limped. Um, and the thing that I did, which is part of my healing journey, the healing journey that is so important, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is never do anything alone. Always reach out. There's always help somewhere out there. So I posted on Facebook on the fact that I was in this horrendous pain. I didn't know what to do about it. And then somebody suggested the work of a doctor, John Sarno. So we can talk about this in detail later. But basically, um, I started to do research. And you talk about to doing research, about doing something about it, trying to understand. So from this pain that I didn't understand, that I couldn't walk anymore, basically my body had enough. My body had enough of me and say, okay, Guy, you're not listening. I'm gonna put you down. That's it. Um, And of course, the last month prior to my somatic experience, my mother died. So a lot of feelings going there. My mother, who for the last 3 years was a intensive care senior center. It's basically a kind of hospital. Uh, Once you go in, you don't go out. You basically they take care of you, try to they feed you, have no pain, but it's like one of those late stages in life. So I was living this experience about my mother, uh, and I got a new contract to actually do Mr. Bonheur, which is me, Mr. Happiness, and to go in those senior cares home to actually do to give love to the people there. And I was afraid. I said, I'm gonna be a failure. I can't do this. So all my feelings came together of my mother in that place, my mother passing away, dying, rest her soul, and still having to go to those places and to bring love and joy and feeling, um, am I going to be able to pull it off? So I'll stop here as an introduction.
I I guess my question would be to kind of continue on uh, about your experience.
Mm.
I could I see similarities, and those similarities, like with my story and your, it could be that we didn't respect our bodies in the beginning, and we didn't read the signs. And when too much becomes too much, then you have no other choice. And what I see when I look around, there are many people who walk around half dead. They don't even notice that they've already long passed that line where they can't take it anymore. And I think that's part of, as you call it, your mission to bring love. It's also about the feeling that you don't deserve to bring love, feel worthy. I think that's one of the limits that, like, if you cut, like, we can call them limbs. If you cut off one limb, like, if you cut off that limb of feelings, deep feelings, then you somehow, um, it's misfortune because you cut off the sense of feeling, like when too much is too much. And it seems like from what you told me just now, that you were not really escaping, but you overloaded yourself with many things. And when we messaged each other yesterday and today before this conversation, my idea, like one of my questions was, would you like to talk about signs this time? Because with each time that you learn about yourself, you learn about life, and then each challenge, the next challenge that comes in your life, it's easier to separate it in little segments and see what went wrong, maybe not even wrong, but like what I could do different. And if you look back now in those 3 weeks, did you see signs? Did you see little elements that you might do in a bit different way that wouldn't overwhelm you? Or I might challenge you with this, or you really appreciate the experience and you're glad because now you understand the surrounding environment and people in it even more. Like, could you elaborate on this?
Yeah, I really appreciate what you're saying now and what you just said before, that how many of us are not walking zombies, but we don't know how far we've gone in our everyday life, and that we are not listening to those signs. So um, we don't know how far. Sometimes we just need to to break something, to go too far to wake up, and it's a journey of awakening. So um, the positive side is to say our body loves us. So whatever message it's going to send us, um, it's there to help us. So when my mother passed away, I bought a big box of 4 liters of wine. And I'm not a big drinker or anything, but that could have been a sign. I say I started to eat more sugary foods. Uh, I started to eat more snacks. So my nutrition was less about nourishing my body. It was more about dealing with feelings. Okay. Um, what I've learned today, so my lessons from my leg. So I went to the osteopath, and I went to the acupuncture, and I did a lot of writing and of mental journaling. So that's very important. So we can talk about how my healing process, how I basically can walk now. So in 2 weeks, I went from not walking, totally in pain, and I kept myself away from developing a chronic fear. You know, I was freaking out because I said, "Oh my God, I'm gonna have to cancel my activities. I'm gonna have to cancel going to the seniors hospital. I'm taking improv class. I'm taking acting classes. I had a solo show, my first solo improv show of Mr. Bonheur on stage. I was I was freaking out because I had to cancel all these things. But I started to read, and what I've learned. So basically, so when you talk about were they signs, I think that if I would have saw those signs, if I would have respected those signs, I wouldn't have learned my lesson. I don't know if that makes sense. It's
It
like
doesn't, but like I know what you're talking about. It kind of doesn't make, but in the same time, it does make total sense.
it means that I would have kept my beliefs, my sick belief, my the belief that needed to be expressed, so the to be questioned, would have stayed with me for all these that stayed with me all these years, would have maintained its level. I'm living a rebirth now, an emotional and a purpose rebirth now.
And it's funny because in previous conversations when we spoke, you could tell that you have actually worked on yourself. It's not like you've done nothing in your life. Like you've you've done a lot. And then in recent, and this is the one thing that I want our listeners to pay attention that you're not like 20-year-old as well. You have some life experience, and then you could say, in recent 3 weeks, I experienced rebirth. How encouraging it is. It's really
It,
like it gives hope.
No, there is hope. It's like, okay, I'm gonna be 65 this year. So I totally don't feel it. Age is totally irrelevant. At 55, I gave myself a challenge of going clowning in India for the first time, humanitarian clowning. So like, okay, I don't know if there was this thing of Freedom 55 here on TV. There's that thing. I have no idea what it means. But anyway, that at 55, you could reinvent your life. The very interesting thing that you just made me think. So there was the lockdown that happened in the last 3, 4 years, and those lockdown brought me close to suicide because my belief system was challenged so much about is there hope in life? What's the goodness of humanity when there's so much shit in humanity? What's the point of going forward?
And we must remind the listeners that it's Canada. You had one of the strictest lockdowns in the world. Because in many, like, I have listeners from many different countries. There are also Latvian people and some other nationalities. And of course, we have some Canadians now listening. You know what Guy is talking about, but Australia, Canada, and some other countries, Switzerland, they had one of the strictest regulations, really. So
We had
was really
curfews,
tough.
for example, for weeks, not allowed to go out from, I don't know, 7 at night till 6 in the morning. Um, and it's these um, barrières, these rules also made people scream at each other in the streets. And, that's another level of stress. If I wasn't wearing a mask in the street, some people would scream at me. So there's the emotional aggression beside all these rules. So thank you for pointing that out. So, and it's out of this anger, depression, anxiety, discomfort that I started running outside. Everything was closed, the gym was closed, the parks were closed, there was curfews. So whenever I could find freedom, I started jogging, which I never did in my life. So uh, I discovered something new. I hurt my knees within a couple of months because I had no technique whatsoever. But still, the magic of it is that I've discovered running and I got really hot. In the summer, I took my shirt away, which for me was insane because I'm so shy of my body, shy of myself. I discovered something new. And then I started running in the snow, bare chest in the winter at -5, -10. Um, so the somatic experience. So the lockdown brought out a lot of negative feelings that needed to be healed. Instead of getting sick, I started running. So the running, I guess, heals some of my anxieties. But, and this is a big but, you make me think of this now, the beliefs I had, the belief system that was in place kind of remained. So I created a new equilibrium by running with my anxiety. So I could function, but I didn't question my beliefs. Now, the this time my mother passed away. So there were signs with the alcohol and the sugar. And I started a new class. It's called Découvrez votre potentiel humoristique, which is in French for discover your humor potential. It's basically kind of like how to be a stand-up comic, more or less, exploring, massaging that. And the evening, so I finally made the connection that when I lost my ability to walk was after I gave my presentation. We had a 3-minute presentation. We had to do a present on who we were as people. And I kept asking the teacher the week before and the other week before, I don't have any content. What am I going to speak about? It's like, I wrote a book. I've got a whole life, I'm a clown and I still have this. It's like I felt like an empty shell. And when I did my presentation, it went okay. Some people laughed, it was fine, but I felt a failure. And I felt so much a failure, but I didn't listen to myself that my body said, okay, that's it, that's enough. I'm throwing you down the stairs, almost physically. So my mother passed away. So the common theme, the thing I had to learn and that I'm still struggling. So I did the song for you today, and that's part of my healing. That's the new me. I couldn't have done this a month ago. I'm daring stuff. So it's
I
about
appreciate it because that's the thing that's coming for me, only coming. I also play guitar and I used to play violin and if you know kantele, the string instrument as well, I
it.
play that as well. And I used to play djembe, the African
Yeah.
drum. I
Yeah.
used to, I but for me, I totally feel it, how much it takes from you to bring it out and show it to the world. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'll just summarize in a nutshell, and then you can see where we can go from there. So um, learning that just being myself is enough. I don't have to perform. So I did perform now, but this is who I am. I'm not performing. I'm not making believe I'm a clown or I'm a musician. I'm just putting out into the world. This is who I am. I'm not performing. This is just me. And that's a hard lesson to say, what are people going to think of me? Okay, so one more minute, and then you can see where your audience would like to go. And also your audience, you are sending waves of inspiration because this is going on live. And you're sending us waves of what you would like us to talk about. And you can always leave that in the comments below. eventually. But what I've learned, okay, somatic. So your feelings create pains in your body. Your body doesn't have a language. It doesn't have words. Your body speaks with images. That's my idea. That's my concept. You don't have to agree. So your body is going to send you images in your dreams. Um, it's going to send you flashback. It's going to send you daydreaming. Okay, so to finish off, what I'm dealing with now, what I'm learning of is from my left side, from my mother who passed away. What I learned from my mother was anger because my mother died still at 93, still hating my father. So that's a big reflection to know that if at 93 she still hated my father, never forgave him, and we talk about forgiveness before, it means that when I was 3 years old, when I was 8 years old, when I was 20 years old, when I was 30, 40 years old, basically each relationship I had with my mom, growing up with mom, I was raised in a nest of anger. That's the pain in my leg comes from anger. Anger from my mother's side. And from my mother's side, that's when we get into inheritance. That's from her grandmother and her great grandmother. So it's not about when you break a chain, it's never about blaming you have to help me, the last thing that's holding you. The chain is a round things.
I'm not going to be good helper at this because I'm not
Okay.
that.
So a chain,
But I
chain,
think we can visualize this. Like there are
the
parts of the chain, yeah.
chain is just rounds and rounds and rounds
Yeah.
and rounds and rounds. Okay, so whatever these things are called, it's a
Yeah.
chain of
Help
thingies.
us. If you know how it's called, write in the comments.
So thank you. So my mother is basically, so this is me being born, this is me being in the world. So my mother is basically the last one I was hooked to, but she's hooked to her mother and she's hooked to her mother. So forgiveness is understanding this. It's to never blame the chain. You're just there, that's all. So the gift we have is we break the chain. Okay, so I went on a tangent, but basically, from one leg, I've learned anger, and then this we can see in the next week or months or how I deal with that. But what I've discovered, and I totally didn't know, like totally, often pain is a misdirection. If you have pain on one side, it's because your bobo is on the other side. So the pain takes you away from looking at the real bobo. So bobo means the real hurt. And from my osteopath, from the acupuncture, this crazy image that I never thought in my life at all, and never at all. In my other leg was my father. And this other leg, my right leg with my mom felt pain, but my left leg was so numb. It was beyond pain and it's regret. And from my father, I've learned regret. You know, Edith Piaf, non, rien de rien, non, je ne regrette rien.
There is a movie, Inception.
Okay,
Have you seen that movie?
I think so. It's very confusing, right? Or I
It
don't know.
it's the movie where it's Leonardo DiCaprio and some other
Oh yeah,
film,
yeah, yeah.
and there is the it keep you have an amulet and you deep dive into dream and dream and dream. You
Exactly.
know that, yeah. And
And then you
there
you
is
you
this
hold it
song,
to wake up. Yeah,
yeah. There is
regret.
this song in one moment when yeah, something important happens, yeah.
So if so. to finish there, because and then I can answer your question and go where you feel and go where your public would like to go. Uh, if I wouldn't, if I had stopped drinking and stopped eating sugars, and say, okay, no, no, I have to be more uh, forgiving to myself. It's the death of my mother. It's this and that. I would have never gone to find the anger that is stuck with me. And I would have never gone to find the regret that is stuck with me. So that's why it's a gift. It's an amazing gift to know that I've been carrying this anger, this amazing anger, and this amazing regret, regret in life. And since then, so that's why now I can play, because I can't regret being who I am. I'm just me who I am. And this is my gift. This is my gift to the world. So um, if I hadn't break down, if my leg didn't stop me, I would still be functional, going on through life, but living a half life, always doubting. And I think I'll finish with this concept of how much are we doubting ourselves? How much are we questioning ourselves and not doing what we feel is of value to us?
No, I think we can gladly continue on this note because it's quite an important direction to realize from what position, uh, what are you ready to give, and how, like, of course, everything is important. Whatever happens in its unique experience, and no other person can experience the same thing. But you touched upon, I don't know, did you have a habit to drink a lot of alcohol when you were younger? But I know some people who do. And then if you give all of yourself, like let's talk about like musicians and sorrow and doing terrible things while being drunken or drugs and like the music is beautiful, but what's the message? Because there's always like the pain and the desperation and broken lives and I know the topic might develop in so much bigger topic now because we seem to kind of enjoy the pain and kind of when you kind of taste it and yum, 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 oh I'm so much pain and but like today we're talking about totally different experience where you're not savoring the pain. You sometimes you're kind of caught up in the middle of all that soup that's happening all around you, and you don't have even time or place to savor it. It's just it happens, and then the result is some somatic experience. But if we talk about creating creating, what's the position you create from? And that's a question again for you when you were in your purest state, like if you can call it like pure state being running freely in minus something and you feel
Mhm.
free and full of creative energy. What's bringing your best into the world and what's the difference when you're in pain and you're probably not the best display, you're not the most pleasurable to look at, but still that's your truth. uh, uh, does this resonate with you? Do you have something to say about this?
Yeah. Uh, this is, yeah, it resonates with me. And it's the idea that, like I said, the body speaks to us in images, and our mind speaks to us in stories. So, um, what you've been telling me for the last 2, 3 minutes is a story. And a story is true because it comes from you. So our body always wants to heal. It's like I invite you to a banquet, so a feast. And on this table, there's, chicken roasted, sorbet and chocolate fountains and just imagine the best dessert, the best bread. Oh, the best. You can smell the bread, and there's like butter from cows in the field eating grass, grass-fed butter, and it's like everything's real, and that's the buffet is there. And the buffet is life. It's a gift. Now, you come into the room, you have this buffet. Are you going to eat it or are you going to tell your story? That's that's extreme. But basically, life is an amazing gift. And until you've come across the buffet, you're stuck with your stories. And that's why forgiveness is the most powerful experience in the world. I just wrote about this morning. What did I wrote? What did I write? God. So I still have my journal. Each day I write. Um, let's say, um, je vais le dire en français for your French viewers, and I'll do it
Of course, they are like five, but still, yeah, why not?
bon, pour mon accent québécois. They're gonna say, oh, it's so cool. And il est bien d'avoir une direction. Cela est une fantaisie dans la tête. On laisse cela aller quand on est dans le présent. So, meaning, your mind, your thought process is there to give you a direction in life, a goal, a meaning, a purpose. Okay? You can do this, your eyes closed. You can do this in bed. You can do this whenever, wherever. That's a purpose, that's a function of your mind. Your mind, your thought process, your story is there to give you a meaning, a direction in life. But it's all in there. Once you get in real life, you must throw that away.
It's like all the religions that they speak about reading about practice or starting to practice. It's totally different things if we can draw comparison.
This it's like if you haven't every one of us has tasted that moment of pure ecstasy, of pure freedom, of you can do it. The thing is like some people do meditation, for example. When I don't really practice meditation, I have a coffee and I stare out the window. Um, that's basically my
I
meditation.
think that counts.
There you go. But think of that experience of where you don't ask, do I exist? Why do I exist? Why am I here? Why my mother hates me? What are my kids doing now? You have none of that. You have this peaceful experience. Now, take this experience and have it every second of your life when you walk in the streets, when you take the metro, when you do a podcast interview, when you all the time, then you say, but D, is that possible? It's a practice. That's why I would use the word it's a practice. But that practice makes sense because each person you meet is not you. Each environment you meet is not you. So you have to look at it with open eyes, listen to it with open ears, and interact with it. When you are in your story, when you're in your mind, you are imposing your vision on life. And that is painful. Pain is just that. Pain is thinking that you're right.
Yeah,
Give up.
pain is also helpful, isn't it?
It is
Shows
because
direction.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm gonna say I love pain. I don't, let's say I appreciate pain as a signal of old crusts I'm still carrying inside. Um,
I
which
would say the same. I wouldn't I recently heard from someone saying that basically we're all, if you know the word masochist, the
yes,
masochist.
yes, another word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're just.
No, I think the word masochist for me implies refusing the pain. And that's the game. Like a
Yeah,
masochist says that words because he's refusing the pain. Because if he wasn't or she wasn't refusing the pain, it wouldn't be pain.
yeah.
It would just be an experience, you know. Um,
And that's
before that,
another, for those of you who would like to explore this, pause and think about it. That suffering is optional. The
yeah,
pain is present in many situations in our
yeah.
lives, but
And
suffering is
and
optional.
and this is a good segue because I did prepare. So how did I heal myself from not walking, from my pain, such crazy pain? So I just prepared three authors.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, John Sarn, who this is the book in French, but it's basically the connection between the mind and pain. Steve Ozanek goes even deeper into the connection between the mind and the body, the pain. And lastly is Mark Woolen. It didn't start with you. So um, how I do research, because this is a nice how-to video also podcast. When I find people of interest, I go on YouTube and I do research. Uh, I listen to them and I listen to as many videos from them. If you just listen to one, you get one idea. If you listen to 5 lectures by the same person, by the fifth time, you'll get the core of what is their message. You'll get the juice. You'll get the, okay, yeah, of course, nonviolent communication. Number
I'm
one, I
just
got that
popping in
book.
that you mentioned some good books. I just thought
Yeah.
this one
Perhaps
is really mainstream.
conversation on trauma, resilience, and healing. Okay, cool.
And of course, Gabor Mate.
Yeah, Gabor Mate. So, and this one, maybe he did the title to be a bit the same as the second one you showed because it didn't start
What
with you.
happened to you? Yeah.
And there you go. So, in this one, so really go on YouTube and type these names, listen to them. And the one thing I do want to talk about, Mark Woolen, it didn't start with you, is the concept of the chain. He doesn't talk about the chain. I made the chain image, but the idea that uh, I'll just say this. Okay, so you as a woman, me as a guy with sperms, but you as a woman, you have ovulas, right? In your bag of ovulas,
Ovaries, yeah.
ovaries. Thank you. And you know
By the
that
way,
when
talking about this, very good book also.
excellent. Thank you. So you know that of course that when you're born, when you're a fetus in your mother's womb, all your eggs that you'll ever produce are already there.
Yeah.
You know that. Okay.
Information about eggs, yeah. In
Okay.
DNA, yeah.
Okay. But the thing that Mark Woolen and because it's a scientifically based, which is fascinating, is that okay, so you were born out of your mother, of course.
Yeah.
But when your mother was in the womb of her grandmother, the cells that would become your own ovaries were already, the DNA information was already there.
And
So
this is
basically,
fascinating. This is fascinating. I always mention this to people when they talk about, oh, I feel so close to my grandma, my female friends, like, and then I tell them this, and they're like, oh my goodness, that's genetics.
exactly. Yeah, and so that's grandma. And so basically the soma, the pain, the images you have. My pre present challenge. So you this can be an discussion for another time. But so my mother anger. So now that I know I can deal with it, with my father is regret. Because of the divorce, my and so many things I didn't explore yet. But I do have one big. There's a lion and he has this thing in his paw. You have to pull it out.
Hmm.
So one thing I'm not somatizing it yet, and I won't because I'm working on it, is I have a belief in scarcity. I don't know if I
Hmm.
pronounce it
Okay,
well.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm afraid of ending up in the street. I'm afraid of not having enough food. I'm afraid of um so but scarcity in a even in a metaphor, not metaphoric, metaphor way. And that's a new concept. And for me, the remnant of my soma pain that I have that might come up once in a while in my leg is because I haven't dealt with releasing this feeling of scarcity. And that comes, I know my mother lived in poverty. I know my grandmother, uh, in the 1920s with the crash, the economic crash. Um, I don't know if you've ever seen those in movies or black and white movies, people who put all their belongings in a truck and they move out west. Well, that's my grandfather's and grandmother's story. Uh, they had to move from city to city, different jobs. To be able to live, because of the crash.
Mhm.
So uh, in the Mark Woolen way of looking at it doesn't start with you. Um, I've inherited this scarcity, uh, disease, feeling, beliefs that doesn't belong to me. So I go to finish. I come to the buffet. So life is a gift. Life is an amazing buffet, and it's beautiful, and it's there, and it's true. I've touched it, I've felt it, I live it, but inside me, there's a Mr. Scarcity, and I'm stuck. I can say it presently, I'm stuck with living scarcity. Meanwhile, I know that there is the buffet there. So when you still people you out there who having all these challenges in life and say, I cannot deal with it, or how can I deal with it, or how can I make change? That's what I teach. That's what I talk about is that once you've you see the buffet that life is. When you've touched to what you're passionate about, what you are unique about, when you know it's there, this is something that nobody owes you, uh, that is freely available to you all the time. And until, and I get it because I've been living in that for so many centuries, if until you touch, you experience the fullness, the love, the buffet of life, you're stuck in your story. And that's it. It's not a contradiction. It's just that you haven't tasted it yet. It's that simple. So believe me, it's there. It is there. It is life is amazing. Whatever shit is on the news, whatever propaganda you keep hearing, whatever fear that is around you, once you've touched that buffet of life, um, yeah, you've got inspiration to move on from there. So
I think it's with many, many people, not only me, not only you like that. Um, the the trouble is we often don't want to be childlike, to be seen as childlike when we truly enjoy stuff, when we truly enjoy um, the experience. And what if I want to laugh about some things that doesn't make sense to other people? What if it doesn't have to make sense? And
and it does make sense, and I agree with you totally. And I love it how you just brought it up, a bit childlike.
mm,
It's one of those. Uh, I so get it. It's like being playful, and when I used to teach in museums and whatever music courses and stuff like that, I would say, why is it that it's only children that are allowed to play? Why is it, it's like
we
play.
don't like when we go to museum in Dublin, the art museum. We sit on the ground and we draw and we play. Like it's up to us, I guess. Is it?
Exactly, but we are in a society that has turned play into work, let's say, for example. But play is it's maybe next time. I
Yes,
think
we
that
are
would
at the end of the conversation. We have to set the date. So in about a month,
be about a
um, let's say about 4 weeks, the next topic would be what?
play, play,
Play.
play as a child. I think today was heavy.
Oh yes, yes. It's I've wrote
So,
2 whole pages about this
uh,
conversation, and it's I
get my book for
yeah.
inspiration, for inspiration.
It's
I'm
not an
very
easy book. It's not it's not your cream on the tart. It's your life's work, really, so far. And you
so
keep
far.
exploring it, yeah, so far. But I wouldn't say I haven't read it all of it yet, but it's fun, it's engaging, but it makes me think and it makes me cry so many times. Like it's not an easy book, yeah. So be prepared. It's one of those books, and it's
And
real life. It's not, it's not
it's real
fiction.
life, and it's basically, some people say to me, "Oh, you should have written the good stuff, the fun, happy
Only,
stuff
yeah. Why you
in
talk
the
about the bad stuff?
beginning. Start with that instead of
Yeah.
doing chronological." But I chose this format. I think that it will, first connect to move, shake a bit something inside. It's actually, why not? Maybe should say this. It's written in three parts. It's three book in one. So it's like book one, book two, and book three. So maybe I can recommend to people start with book three. Why not? Don't start,
You don't have to, but like, why not?
yeah, I'm trying to find where's the The big separation there, but leaving home, family show, and it's in French and it's in Spanish. There
And
you
in
go.
English.
So maybe, thank you. That's a very good advice. So everybody starts with part three. Get
Yeah.
the book. It's an ebook. It's in French and in Spanish.
You can get it
Start,
on Amazon as well, like simple Kindle ebook.
yeah,
2 minutes
uh,
and it's yours.
and then start with part three.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have suggested that, and then
That's why we have these conversations, Guy,
good, good, good. So then,
to come to conclusions.
yeah, so um, I would okay. So next time is gonna be
About play.
so enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the pink. The years go by as quickly as a wink. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Okay,
See
so
you next time.
see you next time, and you can cut me up. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine
Away.
away. Love you all.
Okay. Bye.
Take care. Giard, Mr. Happiness, signing off for you.